Hello, Riderflex Nation. Steve Urban here. And guess what? I I just I just didn't like him. Oh man, you know what? I really liked her. those are the those are the two most common things I hear when I call a client or the company in our case, and I say, "How'd you like Johnny?" Yeah, he was okay. I just didn't really like him that much. He's missing this or he's missing that. Or I'll call and I'll say, "Hey, how'd you like Bob?" They'll be like, "Oh man, Bob's great. Yeah, I really liked him." And when you pin them down, when you try to pin them down to find out why, they don't really know, right? They can't. They really can't put their finger on it. They just liked him a lot. The interview went good. Boy, there was. You know what it is? There was great chemistry between them, right? It's all about the chemistry, really. Okay, maybe it's not all about the chemistry, but a large part of it is about the chemistry. I think so often clients, companies in our case, the companies get caught up in looking at a candidate's resume and all these little bullet points of requirements and experiences that they have to have before they decide to hire them. But really, at the end of the day, once Bobby gets in front of them, you know why the hiring manager ends up making the decision to hire Bobby? Because they like him. Because the chemistry was there, because they think Bobby will fit on the team. Bobby fits the culture. The team will like Bobby. Boy, he's right. He's our style, That's why Bobby gets hired. That all of a sudden they forget about a couple of the bullet points that might be missing from their background that were in the requirements section. But boy, believe me, if the chemistry is not there in the interview process, the company is real quick to point out those bullet points of requirements that the candidate might be missing, right? But they quickly overlook them if they just like the guy. And it's the same for the candidate, right? The candidate calls us back and says, "Oh my gosh, I met Mary, the hiring manager. Oh, she's great. I love Mary." And then all of a sudden, some of the concerns maybe about the company they were worried about, maybe it's only 2 weeks of vacation, they wanted 3, maybe it's 10 grand less a year, maybe the commute was a little too far. Guess what? All of a sudden, all that's out the window. You know why? Because they love Mary. The chemistry was there. Oh my God, I think I want to work for her. And then they met some of Mary's team and that chemistry happened and the team liked you and you liked the team and the chemistry was there. You know, I've seen it so many times. I think we all forget, right? A lot of times we forget that it's humans working with humans and it's about the chemistry. And if the candidate fits the team environment and style and culture, things are going to go well. And if people don't enjoy being around each other and people don't like each other because there's just so many differences or they rub each other the wrong way, I don't care how smart they are. I don't care what their skill set is. I don't care what their experience level is. If you have people in a room that don't genuinely like hanging out for 10 hours a day, things aren't going to go well. They aren't going to be productive. I don't care what's in their background or what bullet point they had on their resume. This is why chemistry and matching personalities to company culture is so critical. Most of the time, when it doesn't work out, when a candidate leaves voluntarily or involuntarily, it's because something was wrong with the chemistry. The team didn't like them, or the supervisor didn't like them, or they hated the supervisor, or whatever. They just didn't fit in, or something like that usually happened. Okay? Not all terminations go that way, voluntary or involuntary. There are other reasons, but a lot of times that's it. And when you think back on your career, and just think back for a minute about all the employees that you may have had that worked for you, which ones were your best ones? It was the ones you liked, right? It's the ones you enjoyed being around. They kicked ass at their job, but you also enjoyed their personality and you liked being around them. That's where you had the most success. And if you think back on history as an employee and you think about what companies you enjoyed working for the most, or what supervisors you enjoyed working for the most, it's the ones you enjoyed being around, right? You had something in common. Your styles or your personalities or your cultures or whatever, your backgrounds, they were similar. You had something in common. You liked being with them. So folks, what's the point of the podcast today? The point is this. It's the chemistry that ends up being more important than almost anything else. Stop thinking that what really matters is whether or not a candidate matches every single bullet point of requirements on the job description, okay? If you're the employer, stop thinking that. If you're the candidate, stop thinking that the employer has to match every one of your demands when you're getting an offer letter. The bottom line is this: if you're close, if the candidate gets most of what they want, if the client or if the company is getting most of what they want on the resume, even though it's not a perfect fit on paper, if it's close and the chemistry is good and the candidate's style and personality match the company's culture and style, that is what matters the most at the end of the day and when teams will be the most successful. Let me give you a personal example to finish off this podcast, okay? This applies to our own team right now. Our partner in the company that leads sales for us is absolutely the best sales guy I have ever been around. We're friends. I trust him with my life. And guess what? Before we started Riderflex, he had absolutely no experience in sales for a staffing and recruiting firm. So if we had put out a job posting that said we need a sales guy to lead the staffing and recruiting firm business development piece, if we had put that job posting out, guess what? My friend wouldn't have qualified because he'd never led sales for a staffing and recruiting firm. But what really matters is he had great sales experience. The chemistry between us is fantastic. The styles and personalities and cultures go together, and that's why it's successful. So stop getting caught up in all the details on the job requirement or the candidate's resume. Focus more on matching personalities to company cultures, and you'll be more successful. And there is your Riderflex tip of the day. As always, folks, you can call in and email us with questions. We'll help you in any way we can. Visit riderflex.com to learn more about us. Thanks a lot for listening, folks, and have a great day.